Welcome to another episode of the Ilongga Yogi podcast. My name is Kate, and I share stories on yoga, mindfulness, fitness, mental health, and wellness. For today's episode, we'll be talking about to-dos, not to-dos, frequently asked questions, and just a bunch of tips on taking your first ever yoga class. And what's special about today's episode is for the first time ever, I have a guest. So before we get into that, let's start with just a few moments of silence. Treat this as a quick refresh from whatever it was you were doing before. So wherever you are, start to get really comfortable. If you're listening to this while you're driving or walking, then just keep your eyes open and start to do whatever it is you're doing more mindfully now. But if you're able to, close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths with me. Inhale through the nose. And sigh it all out. Again, inhale. And sigh it out. And one more time, inhale. And sigh it out. Slowly come out of the stillness. Blink your eyes open if you have closed them. And thank you for sharing that moment with me. Just a little background about today's episode. My guest, her name is Chi. She is a yoga teacher, certified yoga instructor, and she also teaches for my studio, Body Love Yoga Studio. She is an Ilongga as well, and actually she's my neighbor, but she's currently based in Manila. So that's why she does the online yoga classes for the studio instead. And today we're just going to share what we feel are the most frequently asked questions that we get as teachers. What are the things that people usually ask us that they need to prepare when it comes to taking their first ever yoga class. And so this is all based on experience and also like our personal experience as well as first timers when it comes to yoga. So hopefully you learn a lot from this episode, but more importantly, I hope that this episode really encourages you to try your first ever yoga class. It's a really sweet and nice episode because it's also just me kind of talking with one of my closest friends. So I hope you enjoy. Hi, Chi!
Hi, Kate.
How are you?
I'm good.
How's Manila? How's everything there?
Manila, same pa rin. It's mostly work from home. I'm mostly work from home now and really just going out when needed.
Yeah.
Better to
All
stay
right.
home pa rin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So same, well, not really same here because in Iloilo, diba, it's a little bit I don't know, more chill, more laid back now, hindi not super strict, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's good to know that you're thriving there, even though with everything happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sige, let's talk about I wanted to ask you about your first yoga class experience since we're talking about people who have never done yoga before, who might want to try yoga for the first time, like what are the things they need to know and everything, no? So, I wanted to ask you if you can share that experience with us and how that led you to become a teacher.
Okay, sige. Actually, my first yoga class was about, I think, 8 years ago. It was a friend or an office mate who invited me over to a hot yoga class. So that was my first class ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, as a first timer back then, it was for me. It was I was a skeptical. I was a skeptical type. Uh, I had my own notions about yoga, but then I just gave it a try. During my first class, since it was a heated class, I was kind of struggling in a way because I wasn't used to the heat. That's first, and
Yeah.
second, I was not used to the poses that was being instructed by the teacher. I wasn't used to the setting, and but that really gave me a different perspective about yoga.
Mm-mm.
After that first class, everything was history na. It was just that first class made me realize that wow, yoga is completely different from how I thought it was before taking the
Yeah, yeah.
class. It also helped that the teacher was very accommodating. At
Mm-hmm.
first, I had this notion of people might judge me or people might criticize me because I wasn't as flexible as they were. But then
Yeah.
the teacher was very accommodating and she really helped me get through the class. To be honest, I was in child's pose. I was resting for like one third of the class because it was my first time ever to try it out,
Yeah.
but I loved it. I loved it. After that, I was attending almost every day. I was
Mm-hmm.
attending
Mm-hmm.
almost every day, and it even came to a point that we were doing two classes in a day.
Wow, yeah. That's
Yeah,
a
it came to
very
that.
typical, ano, like a typical newbie who gets
Yeah.
really addicted to yoga because I'm the same
Yes.
way. So
So you
taking
did that
multiple
before
classes a day.
also, the two
Yeah.
classes a
I
day.
would do sometimes like 4 classes a day because I would
Oh my
have
gosh.
nothing else to do. Parang I would just
Yeah.
like camp sa studio.
Yeah, yeah. We were the same, and
Yeah.
kasi the studio I was going to, where I was enrolled, it was just right across the office. So
Yeah.
it was like my second home also. Na
Yeah,
if
right,
I
right.
was bored or like if I wasn't doing anything, we would visit there. So yeah, we would take two, even three classes a day. And then after that, my interest for yoga really intensified because
Mm-hmm.
at first I was really just there for the physical benefits, but I realized it was more than that. And
Mm-hmm.
then I
Right.
grew. The passion for yoga grew, and it even came to a point where I wanted to become a teacher. Thankfully,
Yeah.
the studio where I was going had a teacher training, and yeah, it just all came into place. It just
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
there. It started from there. They invited me and my friend, and then we became teachers at the same time
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, and until now, are you well, until last year you were still
Yeah.
teaching at the studio, right? So
Yes, yes,
imagine like
yes.
how many years since your first yoga class?
Yeah, I know it. It's been so long. It's been 8 years. I
Well,
started
yeah.
2012, July of 2012. So
Uh-huh.
it's been more than almost a decade. Not yet, but almost a decade.
Yeah, right?
It's so
Amazing.
long.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to know because we have very similar like first yoga class experience wherein we didn't expect it to be what it was at
Yeah,
all. Like you come in, my
completely
first
different.
class was vinyasa yoga. So it's funny because like now what our first class was is like what we're teaching now.
Yeah.
One of the classes that you're teaching
Mm,
now. So it's very different from what I expected, and we all started the same way. That we're also not as flexible as we are now. Like it's hard. It was
yeah.
hard to reach for my toes as well, even though I've had like a dancer background. So it's very the same lang, you know. And even now when I attend like your hot class, I still struggle in a hot class, and it's already been the same like 8 years, 7 years
Yes.
since my first class too.
Oh
So it's
wow.
same. I think
Same,
you're just
same.
2 years or no, a year before I started. So we're like 7 years, eight
Almost
years.
same,
So
yeah.
yeah. So yun, like until now I still try. It's like a journey still until today, you know. every class you take with a different teacher, it feels different. It's
It does.
a new experience. It's like you're new to class again. But you know that feeling after doing teacher training, like the magic of a yoga class, parang it's not the same anymore because you know like the secrets, you know the
Yeah.
sequencing. So that's the one thing I miss. That most newbies who attend yoga for the first time might really enjoy that feeling of like, wow, I'm like on a high. Now, as not so much for me. How about you? Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, similar with you. And also, I think one of the challenges of being a teacher is your time is now divided between just
Mm-mm.
practicing. Like before, diba, we were practicing
Yeah.
like 2 to 3 times a day. And then
Yeah.
sometimes in a week, I could just practice like 3 times in a week.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
times that I just get to practice, or I'm in the studio almost the whole day,
Whole
but then
day. Yeah.
I would teach the classes most of the time, and I
Yeah. Or
wouldn't
like
have time to
work.
practice or work. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's really
exactly.
different.
It's different. It's like a luxury to be able to attend, like
I
us, to
agree.
attend like a full class. Like even me,
Yeah.
when we're attending, it's like for me, like especially as vinyasa teachers, where we have to come up with sequences. Like when you're teaching, you're listening to the teacher and you're trying to like, oh, this is good. I
Oh,
should try this
yeah.
in my class. Class
Same.
to
I've learned
like,
that
oh,
also. Yeah.
diba?
Same.
Yeah. So it's like no, you can't really like be in the moment as much as if you were a
When we were
student.
student. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Anyway, let's continue, because before we jump into the questions, I wanted
Mhm.
to talk about first like positivity because this is something new for you. You started it over quarantine,
I did.
no? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, can you tell us about that?
Oh, so positivity. It started more of like a personal project. It has been so long that I really wanted to grow as to have my own brand as a yoga teacher. So over quarantine, I guess I had more time because I was just at home, and
Yeah, all
it
of
was
us.
all of us were just at home, diba? So it was a more of a personal project for me to use my own personal journey and story and share it with other people to inspire them to also start moving, or if they're trying to reach a certain goal, it's very important to start. So positivity, originally it was really more to share my fitness and wellness journey, to share love,
Mhm.
light, and inspiration. So now it's
Yeah.
still a work in progress,
Mm-hmm.
but it's becoming more holistic in a way that it's not just tackling physical, but there's also like other aspects, like when you take care of yourself, it's not just the physical that you take care of, right? So you also take care of your energy, or your
Mm-hmm.
mental health, and then you also take care of another aspect of being holistically well. For me, is really to be
Mm-hmm.
financially well. So that's
Yeah.
really the whole holistic approach to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's positivity, and it's really to share love, light, and inspiration. And I want to be able, the very mission of positivity is really to
Mm-hmm.
inspire people to
Mm-hmm.
be the also share love, light, and inspiration to more people and their loved ones, especially their loved ones.
Yeah, I super love the name. It's very perfect for you because for
Thank
those who
you.
don't know who Chi is, like if you get to know her, she's just a very happy, like joyful person. No matter like you're never sad. You're never I've never seen you sad or angry. Like you're just so happy and bubbly. So it's so perfect and your name is Chi, so like positivity and then Chi is like
Energy.
in yeah, energy, diba? So it's so nice. And I wanted to bring that up too, because later on, while we discuss like the frequently asked questions, like what to prepare, and all of the things you need to know, no, as a first time yoga practitioner, we're also coming from a background where we work out also, like, she also does CrossFit or works out in other ways. She runs as well. I do the same, and we also still practice yoga. We teach yoga. So yeah, and we're kind of, both of us, in a way, we break a lot of the uh, the typical
Traditional or typical
yeah,
notions.
traditional, yeah, of
Yes.
yoga, that it has to be like a skinny girl who's
Yeah.
very, very flexible, stuff like that, because we're not, like, you're not skinny. I am no longer skinny as well, so parang, so, like, you don't have
Yeah.
to be skinny and super flexible, because we've had students who are very flexible, very, like, wow, like,
Very
you're basically bending your body, but
like a
you also
pretzel.
stand. Yeah, and like, for you, you stand for those who you don't have to be like, the typical skinny yoga girl, no, like, that's not what yoga's about. So I
Yes.
wanted to bring that in as well. So congrats on positivity, and good luck sa
Thank
positivity.
you.
Yay! Okay, sige. So let's jump into the first, like, typical question that people ask, who are trying yoga for the first time, and just for everyone, who is kind of thinking about it but not really sure. So why should we try yoga? Like, what's good about yoga? What can we get from yoga? What do you think? For
So,
you.
why should you try yoga? Well, first off, because especially now that we're in quarantine, it's the one of the most accessible things that you can do at home. Uh,
Yeah.
it's low impact,
Yeah.
and you really don't need much to be able to
Yeah.
do a yoga class, right? It's
Yeah.
just your
Yeah.
uh you don't even need a really really big space.
Yeah.
You just
True.
need to have enough space, and like a space where it's a little bit quiet than
Mm-hmm.
normal,
Mm-hmm.
and you're actually good to go. So yeah, I think
That's
everybody
true.
should give yoga a try. It's
Yeah.
actually more than what others, or what you more it's more than what you typically see um online.
Yeah, that's true. I think, excuse me, both of us can say the same thing. Maybe na ever since quarantine, more and more people are starting to realize, how much they need yoga, especially those who thought they would never try yoga.
Yeah,
They're realizing that, wow, yoga can really help us during this time where we're mainly isolated. Everything that we used to do that was normal, we don't have access to anymore. So it's a really nice way to work out, but also to help manage your mental health through all of this. And it's very accessible. You don't need much. You just need a yoga mat. If you have blocks, those are pretty cheap now online compared to, buying all
agree.
these weights. If you're someone who's, thinking, should I go to the gym, or, I mean, like, work out with
Weights
stuff,
or other stuff.
equipment. Yeah. So there, I agree. And also, when it comes to yoga classes, there are so many different styles and so many different yoga classes. So, like, for us, we always say that never stop at just one. If you found that the first yoga class you didn't really enjoy, there are so many more that you can try, right?
And there are also other teachers. So different styles, different teachers. So different teachers have different teaching styles as well. So it's really good to try several, and then you will resonate with at least one or two for sure.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I think for me, I don't 100% enjoy a hot class or a Bikram class. Like, it's nah, I try, but I can't. And
I
like,
love you
same
for
thing
it.
with.
I love you for it for still coming to class.
Yeah, I try to love it. It's hard, but like, for you, do you have a class that you feel like you just, you can't, you don't really.
uh Something that I'm really not into. Maybe
Yeah.
I find Ashtanga
Oh
challenging.
yeah, that's challenging. It's like for a very specific type of people. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, see, like, even for us, like, there are classes that we won't really attend, and there are classes that we will really attend no
love to
matter what
attend.
happens. Oh, we love it. So there. Just take note that, like, as a beginner, there are so many styles of yoga, so many styles of teaching, different ways teachers teach. But I think it's important to always look for beginner friendly classes. Now,
Agree.
yeah. So, as a beginner, wouldn't you say that for us teachers, coming from the perspective of teachers, we're trained to answer questions of like students, na, and like to really watch them to make sure that they're fine and safe during class. But I think that you can also agree na it's best that if you're new, always approach the teacher. Yeah.
Yes, it's always best to talk to the teacher, especially if it's your first time to do a yoga class ever. Like, don't be shy. I always ask this before I start the class. Are there any first timers? Don't be shy. One of the reasons why we ask that is, of course, we want to be able to um, look out for you when we do the class. So when we're into the class, we want to be able to guide you. So if, for example, we're not if we call out your name, we're not calling you out. We're just really looking out for you, and it's also good, apart from approaching the teacher, if you have pre-existing conditions, don't hesitate also to let the teacher know. It's good to let the teacher know so that he or she can modify the poses for you.
Yes, that's very important because again, don't think that like teachers are mind readers, or we're not doctor.
We're
Most
not
of us
doctors.
are not doctors, so we're not there to diagnose you or prescribe anything that will heal whatever you're dealing with, whatever condition you have. So make sure to always like let the teacher know, so that we can make sure that you're safe.
Yes.
Yeah. But also, like, not only, I mean, rely on your teacher to support you, but it's also important that when you join the class, don't hesitate about like your classmates or like what others would think about you or what your teacher is gonna think about you. Because again, we're also like used to teaching so many different students with different backgrounds. Like we've seen it all, almost
We've seen it all.
everything, so
Yeah,
it's
we
like
did.
never like be ashamed like if you fall in class, or if you're whatever
Out,
happens.
yeah, you get out of
Yeah.
balance or something. We've seen
Yeah.
everything, and we're not perfect
Yeah.
as well. Even
Yeah.
in our own personal practice, right, Kate? We would also have our own weak weak weaknesses or weak
Yeah.
points. Yeah, so that's okay. I mean, everybody is different,
Yeah.
and we just do what we can for that class, and it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for us teachers, it's more of like your experience, like what you learn from the experience, that it helps you like heal whatever you may be going through emotionally, that you feel like you're more grounded, more at ease, more relaxed, more at peace, all that stuff. So it doesn't really matter like how you look, if you fall on your face, if you're not flexible enough, like that doesn't matter to us. Like we know that it's a big deal that you're there and that you're trying, and we already like respect that. And for like your classmates, they also are worried about themselves, they're thinking about themselves, they're focused on their body, their breath, like they don't care about like the newcomers most of the time.
Yeah, and it's very though we agree that it's for a first timer. It's normal to feel that way. We've been there. Like during
Yeah,
my first
true.
class in a hot class, I was so worried when I was in child's pose because
Hmm.
what will my classmates think? But then I realized, you know what, they're also dealing or working on their own practice, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, like people always say that they're like worried that they're not flexible enough, or they feel like they're too big
Yeah.
for yoga, or
Yeah.
they're a guy, like guys shouldn't practice yoga. But again, like that's completely false. Like what we always say is yoga is for everyone, like every single type of
Person.
body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody yoga does not discriminate. It's for everybody. Whether
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
a guy or whether you're active or not so
Hmm.
active, it's really it's something very accessible to everyone.
Yeah. And again, going back to what we said earlier, it's all about finding the right class for you. Like if you're older, like senior na, then of course don't attend like your first class as like Ashtanga or something. Like for
Like a hot
example, that
class.
might be or a
Yeah.
hot class because that's gonna be very dangerous for someone like you, let's say. Or if you're pregnant, of course join a prenatal class. Or
Yes.
if you're an athlete, it may be best to join like something like a gentle class or a
Or
yin class, which is
recovery
perfect.
class. Yeah.
Yeah, a restorative class, like something like that. It's all about finding the right class for you. But again, there's a class for everyone.
Agree.
Don't like we don't when we look at our students, we just see like how can we support our students. We don't think about, oh, like this student is this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
So
What our
yeah,
thoughts, what we're thinking is how do we best support the student
exactly.
in class?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. And um also like how athletes usually think that yoga is not for them. Like I just mentioned, if you're an athlete, there is a class for you too. Like
Yes.
especially you can talk about this more because that's your specialty.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, I've actually worked with athletes also previously, and um, these some of the athletes I've worked with are like basketball players,
Mhm.
and so um, I could really say that yoga is for everybody. At first, it was also challenging for them,
Mhm.
for them to do it for the first time. It's a little bit
True.
challenging, a little bit intimidating, but then as we had classes, because it was incorporated by the coach into their program, into their training, and as we were doing the classes, they felt improvements in their bodies physically, and
Mhm.
also during the game. So when they are in the game, right, it's a high pressure kind of game. That doing yoga has really helped them to become more focused, I would say, and then they were more mindful and calm. So they're not in a panicky state. And especially in a high pressure game like basketball, it's very common, right? So um yoga has really helped them. I mean, they told me that it has really helped them be more mindful, focused,
Mhm.
and just
Mhm.
keep their head in the game. So, and
Yes.
yeah, and also for weightlifting, like Kate and
Oh,
I
yeah.
do some weightlifting through our CrossFit
Mhm. Mhm.
workout. So it
Yeah.
it does help a lot because especially if you're doing your PR, personal record, right?
Record.
If you're
Yeah.
doing a PR for weightlifting, you have to have that focus and the use of breath. So doing
100%.
yoga,
Yes.
right, has really helped us a lot. I mean, Kate and I could really attest to that when doing PR, because when you do weightlifting, it's very technical, right? It's very
Yes,
technical. Like
very. Mhm.
one movement or one say power clean would
Mhm.
require a lot of small movements that are very technical and specific.
Yeah.
And being mindful is and being focused really helps. And yoga has really helped us with that. And
Mhm.
even for other sports, I mean, I'm not just talking about weightlifting and basketball, but even say boxing or running. Um, it's very helpful to incorporate yoga into your training. You will see
Mhm.
a difference
Mhm.
in terms of your performance and in terms
Mhm.
of how you are when you are doing your sport or your activity.
Yeah, I really really agree because like for us yogis who just started like working out or like
Yeah.
joining doing CrossFit and everything, like we already have like that breath and that mindfulness, so it's much easier like for us to kind of pick up like these technical stuff, these technical movements, and then the breath. You 100% need that breath to support you, our core, how we work our core so much more in a yoga class. And that's why like most of my students who are not like yogis at first, who have other activities,
Activities.
they come to yoga because like they're after the breath. So like I have scuba divers who join yoga because they know that they need to practice their breath work, holding their breath for a long time. We have athletes like weightlifters who actually tell us na yoga helps them with their mobility, 100% mobility, and
Yeah.
the breath, and the core. They come and join for the core. And other sports as well, other athletes who who've realized like, yeah, we need yoga to help with our flexibility. So that's like the proper mindset to have. Like yoga is something that's supposed to help your flexibility, not something that should stop you because you're not
You're not
flexible
flexible.
yet.
I love
Yeah.
that. I agree. And it really just complements, right?
Yeah,
It really
exactly.
just
Yeah.
complements. And we could really attest to that because we also we do another activity. We do these other activities that we've mentioned, right? So
Yeah.
we could really attest to how yoga has really helped us in terms of improving performance.
Yeah, and it's nice because like you said, how yoga can complement all the other activities you do. Like that's the beauty of yoga. You can do it like every day. Like us, we used to do it every day. I think as
Yeah.
teachers, well, for me, I do it almost every day because I have to teach almost every day. So it's like it's okay. It's completely safe. Like there's nothing to worry about if you're running on other days. Yeah, you can do it both at the same time. Like run in the morning, do yoga at night. Like that's a perfect combination because then you're able to stretch out all the tightness
Yeah.
tightness in your body after like a workout, after a run. So
Yeah.
it's low impact. It's like you can do it as much as you want.
Agree. And what's the beauty of yoga is you don't even have to spend a whole 90-minute class just to
Yeah.
get the benefits, right? You can even do like a simple 30 minute sequence,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's already yoga. So, yeah, yoga is very accessible, flexible.
Yeah.
Give it a try,
Yeah, and
guys.
right. And what's nice is like now that even though we have the pandemic and everything, like there are still many places that are still locked down. Like the rise of online yoga classes. Like there are so many uh places, venues online where you can take online yoga classes. And as a beginner, like I think Chi also mentioned this earlier, that it's best to take like a live yoga class online so that at least even though it is online and it is different from a studio class, like the teacher can still see you and guide you.
Yeah, I agree. We know, and it's really still best to do an in person or say an in studio class. But given the pandemic and the situation, the next best thing is really to attend a live class. If you ask us why, it's because we still get to see you, and then we still get to correct and give you the cues and modifications live, like in an actual class.
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't matter how small your space is. Like there are times when I practice in my small bedroom and I can barely fit as someone very tall like
Yeah,
me,
me,
but
me also.
no, we make it work. We make
We
it
make
work
it work.
because yeah, we know we need it. And so th- even though it's just online, you can still like practice yoga online. We still encourage you to give it a try at least, a couple
Yeah.
of classes. Yeah, so I wanted to move on to some of the like frequently asked questions we get like as teachers. Like for the top most asked question is like, can yoga help me lose weight? So do you wanna, give
uh,
me what you think? Yeah.
Sige. Well, that's really one of the top questions, no? Next to, I think that's next to, I'm not flexible, can I do yoga? Um,
Yeah.
uh, can yoga help you lose weight? Honestly, for me at first it did because my body was not used to the movements, and there's also you also sweat a lot in selected classes. Well, I during my first few months, I was really doing more hot yoga. So
Mhm.
yeah, it did help me lose weight, but um more than the losing weight, it's really a lifestyle change. When I started doing yoga, I realized that I needed to eat more vegetables, or a little bit the cleaner, the more whole foods, more a little bit
Mhm.
more of the whole foods compared to the more processed ones. And you'd feel it in every class, right, Kate? You'd feel it in every class if you ate something clean, meaning
Mm-hmm.
like it's more veg, more fruits, and
Mm-hmm.
you hydrated well, you'd feel good in the yoga class, and then
Yeah,
you'd feel otherwise if not. So
that's
it's
true.
more than, yeah, right, Kate? So more than the losing weight. And I think also you can lose weight because you will start to have this a different kind of mindset. Like you will start to
Mhm.
change your lifestyle, and that I'm talking about my own personal experience. This is coming from personal experience as well.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Because, like, even for me, when I started practicing yoga and meditating, especially, like, you
Mm-hmm.
become more mindful of, like, your actions and, like, how your actions have consequences. And so, of course, if you eat mainly oily, fried, and then sugary food, then, of course, you will feel it in your body. And so, yes, you can lose weight, but just like any other exercise, it's all
Yeah,
about, like, the whole, it's holistic. It has to be your lifestyle. Like, you have to change something in your lifestyle, especially if you have a goal. So again, like,
yeah,
at the end of the day, it's about, like, the food you eat, and yes, how much activity you do, but look at
agree.
your entire lifestyle.
Yeah, it's holistic. It's not just
Yeah.
yoga is one aspect or working out is one aspect, but it's really more than that. Like how many hours of sleep do you get,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and many
How
many
much,
other
and
things.
then many other
Yeah.
things like how many glasses of water do you drink in a day, right?
Yeah, yeah, your hormones, your
Yeah,
any other, like, pre-existing conditions you have, all that stuff. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's a lot.
yeah. It's a lot. It's a
Anyway,
lot.
yeah. Sige. So the next one that we always get is yoga religion, or is it a cult? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, yoga has it. I mean, the roots of yoga is from Hindu or India, so
Mhm.
it has a religion touch to
Uh,
it, I would
yeah.
say, right? And there are, Kate mentioned earlier that there are a lot of styles of yoga. So there are
Mhm.
certain yoga styles that are more, have more religion touch points to it. But there are
Yeah.
also other yoga styles that are more physical. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yoga is not a cult, I would say. It's not. It's really just, you
Tip-
just Kate and I, we really got addicted to it at one point.
Yeah.
And that's why we're
Yeah.
teaching it now and sharing it to
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. We separate our religion from yoga. Like, yoga has no say in what we believe in.
Agree.
And yeah, like, it depends on, like, the teacher, the style of yoga, because, like you mentioned, there are styles of yoga that are a bit more spiritual, very religious. It
Religious.
feels like it. Yeah. Yeah, but it's so much more than that. So don't think that all classes, all styles of yoga are, like, religious. They're not. But also, just know that, like, for us, like, if you ever attend, like, any of our classes, you won't get that in our class.
Yeah.
We are siguro more of, like, the modern style of
Yeah.
teachers.
Modern. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely more modern. But again, there's no harm if, like, ever you attend a class that turns out to feel kind of spiritual. You don't have to partake in that. You can choose to opt out during the class and just, like, stay quiet. Last one for the frequently asked questions. Can you
Go.
practice yoga on your period?
Pwede. I mean, me ha, I still
Yeah.
do. I still practice.
Mhm.
There's, I guess you just have to take it easy because when you're on your period, diba, your body's a little bit weaker than
Mhm.
usual.
Mhm.
So you can just take it easy. It's also best for you to also, I guess, let the teacher know. But um, if you're on your period, just take it easy. That's one. And two, don't do inversions.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's the same. Like, just listen to your body. So, like, there are some people, like, on their first, second day, it's really heavy. So, of course, like, they feel like they can't move. Then don't force it. Or, like, when I'm on my period, first, second day, I prefer practicing, like, a very gentle, slow yoga class,
Or a
like, very
yin class.
yin. Yeah, yin is, like, perfect for me. I never, like, attend a power class. Like, that's so hard for me to do.
Same.
Yeah. But and like maybe after that, if you start to feel better, then it's okay. There's no like problem, with practicing yoga. Nothing's gonna happen to you. Even with like the inversion thing, it depends as well. Like for you, I find like just doing an inversion when I'm on my period is just not comfortable for me. But if I'm on my lighter days, then it's okay for me
Mm-hmm.
to start doing an inversion. So it's really up to you. Like listen to what your body is feeling, because
I
there are
agree.
people even on their periods, they can run, they
Hardcore.
can work out, oh, right,
They're
like they can still
hardcore.
lift weights. But just expect that your practice will be different, because something's different in your
In
body
your
at that
body.
particular time. Yeah.
Agree. It's all preference. I guess we're just here to also
Yeah.
share based from our own personal experiences, and yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so now that you guys like know what the frequently asked questions are, or
Mm-hmm.
what to, I don't know, what like
What to
what
expect
happens like
and
in
what
the yoga
happened.
class. Yeah, like now we can move into like what do you prepare, like what are the things that you need for a class, and then when you're in class, like what do you actually do and what should you not do in class. So did you want to share like what should like your students prepare if they ever attend a class online or like in live
Yeah,
like
for
studio in the
in a studio
future?
set. Well, actually,
Yeah.
first is really just be in comfortable clothes. Uh, Comfortable where you can do forward folds or stretches. Not naman comfortable na you're in your pajamas or something, no. But
You
but
could.
yeah, 'di ba? But yeah, just being comfortable, wear comfortable clothes, and then what to bring for me is really just your mat, your water bottle, your towel, and you're actually good to go. And maybe if you do have blocks, best to have them close by so that if you ever need a prop when we're doing the post, it's accessible.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think that's it. If you're doing an online class, best to have good internet so your practice won't get interrupted. And then
Yeah.
it's also good to be in a space in your room or in your house where it's a little bit more quiet. So you really
Mhm.
get to spend this time for class really for yourself, because you're doing yoga for yourself, not for anybody else.
Yeah, to add on to like the online class, it's best if you have earphones or like some sort of something, yeah, headset of some sort. Well, better if earphones so that it doesn't fall or anything. But yeah, it
Mhm.
helps so that you can hear like the teacher clearly. If they're playing music, it's just better to have it like in your
Right.
ears. Yeah, it feels better. It feels nice. And it's okay too, like during an online class, if you prefer to have your video off or like because you're a very private person, like
Yeah.
that's understandable. Like just let the teacher know. And for the clothes to wear, like yeah, you can wear anything you want, comfortable. If you're like at home, it's okay if it's like really short and really like
Yeah.
whatever, but if you're in a studio, I always like to tell the students that make sure that you feel comfortable, like it's not too loose that like it'll cover your face, or
Mhm.
like if you're wearing shorts that are too loose that people might see
Might
things that they
see
shouldn't
something
see.
else. Oh.
Yeah, during a class, because again, like in a yoga
Yeah.
class, sometimes we like lift the legs up or we do these crazy hip openers. So just
Yeah.
FYI, just make sure that you've like tested it and that nothing's gonna show that you don't
Nothing's
want
gonna
to
rip.
be. Yeah, that too. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. Mat, towel, water, you're good to go. Earphones if you're at home. Yeah. So during a class, like what do you think should students do and not do?
First off is don't forget to breathe.
Oh
Because
yeah, of
yeah,
course.
right, we've experienced having students who sometimes, if they're so into the pose, like they're when you're holding a pose, they also hold their breath, and we
Yeah.
don't encourage that. And if you're a first timer, it might slip your mind, you might forget. But when you're in a specific pose, just really don't forget to breathe, and
Mhm.
do listen to your body,
Mhm.
because you know your body best, more than the teacher, right? So you know what
Yes,
you're
of course.
feeling. If you're feeling that you need to take a step back, take a step back. Don't feel like if you're taking a step back, you're gonna be judged. She didn't do the whole pose. It's not
Mhm.
it's not like that. I actually admire students who listen to their bodies and really really accept where their body is at the moment. And then you actually, with constant practice, you will slowly feel improvements and the difference. And I have students who can really attest to that. We have students who can really attest to that. Do
Yeah.
also, in class, do also listen to the teacher. Listen to the as much as possible. You try to listen attentively to the instructions of the teacher, especially if you're doing an online class now, especially now, given our situation that it's usually an online class. So do listen to the teacher. If you have questions, if you're not sure of what the instruction was, don't hesitate to ask, even if it's in the class. Also, what else? Do have an open mind and heart when you're in the class. Just be open to give the poses a try. And then, if it's something that you don't resonate with, that's okay. You can simply take a step back. What's important is you try.
Yes, I agree with everything. And on top of that, also make sure that before class you don't eat. Don't make the mistake of eating like right before a class because you're like folding and bending and twisting. Like it's just gonna be a hot mess. You might throw
And
up
we've
in class.
we've experienced that, like even me as
Oh
a
yeah.
student. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Like I've had a student who has thrown up in class, and it's like it's not good. so
Not good.
so yeah, make sure that you don't eat. Like it's better to practice on an empty stomach. Actually, if you feel like you'll really get lightheaded, then maybe something very very light. Because sometimes even a fruit, like 30 minutes before class, like you feel it in your tummy.
Feel
So
it.
during the class, so just like it's better to eat like after the class instead. Another thing is to don't use your phone during class. Like I've had students who keep checking their phone, and just like don't do that because your phone is not going anything anywhere. If it's like an emergency, I understand, because if you have like a doctor who's like watching for a baby about to pop out, then like yeah, I get that you need to be on your phone. But if that's the case, like you really need to check your phone. We always tell our students like sit somewhere or stay somewhere close to the door,
Yeah.
wherein you're like at the back, so that you don't disturb the other students, because it distracts the whole class. Like anytime somebody leaves the mat, like we can see that, we
Yeah.
notice that, and it throws us off because like we're wondering like, are they okay, like what's going
Agree.
on. So just make sure to lessen or keep your phone away from you, not near the mat during the
Yeah.
class.
It really disrupts the energy.
Yeah, that too. As well as when you talk to your neighbor, like talking to your friend during the class, or like
Classmate.
trying to talk, yeah, like to your classmate. Like yoga, it's a very like unique way practice, because it's very like all about yourself. Like it's all about the self and your experience. Like you can flow without any like paying attention to your neighbor. So as much as possible, like respect your classmates, and you can always like talk after class, or it can wait. It's not, you don't have to bring it up during the
Yeah.
class. Yeah. Anything else? I think that's pretty much
I think,
it, no?
just another thing to add, maybe I just thought of it now also, is hydrate. Hydrate.
Oh yeah.
Do hydrate before a class. But when we say hydrate, you don't chug. You don't chug like one
Yes.
liter of water before class, because I've seen students do that, and then they would
Uh-huh.
usually end up feeling throwing up, or actually throwing up in class. So
Yeah.
when we say
Uh-huh.
hydrate, right, Kate, when we say hydrate, you hydrate the whole day, like a whole day before. If you're gonna attend the class,
Mhm.
hydrate a day before, and you also need to hydrate naman in general anyway. So it's
Yeah.
also important that you're well hydrated
Mhm.
before coming into class.
Yeah, like pay attention to what the things you have done like before the class. Like if you went out drinking, then and you're hungover during a class, like then you know maybe it's not the best
It's not the
time to
best
practice
time.
yoga. But if you really need to and you know yourself that you can handle it, but of course there might be times when you need to take a break, when you need to like
Yeah.
catch your breath a little bit. It'll be a different experience. So it's like very basic knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
that if you didn't have enough sleep the night before and then you join like a very intense class, and it's not gonna be the best experience.
Agree.
But
Agree.
yeah, just be mindful of those things, like drink water throughout the day before, but not right before a class.
Don't
Same
chug.
with eat.
Don't chug.
Yeah, don't chug during class either. Like during class, it's
Yeah.
little sips of water. You can drink all the water afterwards. I mean, yeah, if you're really
Agree.
thirsty. Yeah. And you don't want to keep getting up and then leaving to go to the bathroom during class either, because that again disrupts you and the class and the teacher. So, be mindful of that too. For online, do you have any tips like etiquette like for online?
For online, the using of the phone also applies. As much as possible, um, even if you're just in the comfort of your own home, it's still best to practice and just be focused on the class during. You can always check the phone after, there's an emergency or a
Yeah.
very very special case, and then that's okay. Other etiquette for online, I think if you can, or if it's okay with you, it's also best, especially in a live class, for the teacher to be able to see you, so the teacher can also correct you. But
Yeah.
if it's something that you're not yet comfortable with, we completely understand. There's also an option to do like a one-on-one, so it's just you and the teacher, so the teacher can see. I've had students before who was not comfortable doing a group class just yet, so they just did an online
Yeah.
one-on-one. So that's another option too. So the teacher could
Mhm.
really correct and see you. I
Mhm.
think, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's about it for online, and the rest will be the same, even in the in
Mhm.
studio class.
Yeah. For like the online too, always check if you're muted or not. Like sometimes
Oh
during a
yeah,
class, some students like they don't realize that they're unmuted. So there are like so many noises and like loud sounds. And so, for other students who are using earphones or headphones, it might distract them a little bit, especially like in a live class. So just
yeah,
like check that, double check if you're like on mute or if you're not on mute. Yeah, and if you don't have like enough space in wherever you are, and it's hard for like you to place the camera where you can see the whole body, then that's understandable. Again, just
okay,
yeah, listen to the teacher, because the teachers online, we do our best to really explain like what to do with each body part, what you should be. Yeah, we guide you through that thoroughly as much as we can. We even demo it for you sometimes. So just
yeah,
like trust that we got you, but also make sure that you're present during class as well. Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all that they need to know. Anything else that you want to share?
Well, so far, I think, yeah, I think we've covered everything already.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that for me and Chi, we love like having new students and
Yeah,
students who are discovering yoga for the first time. Like we're on your side. We're there to support you, and we want you to find like the best class for you, because we know that yoga can be good for so many people. Like it's been so good for us, right? Like for
it's been
you.
8 years, right? I mean, for both of
Yeah.
us, it's been like 7, 8 years already, and we're still doing it. It's actually I just realized it's one of the activities that really stuck with me all these years. Like
Yeah.
right, right. Oh, one thing I also just remembered now is also, yeah, like Kate was mentioning, we're on your side. Don't hesitate to ask questions. So usually, before or after the class, we could actually stay around 5, 10 minutes. If you have questions, even if it's in an online setting, we could, if you have questions, specific questions or clarifications, you can always reach out to the teacher. Or like for me and Kate, we're online. You can also message us on IG or
Yeah.
wherever. So we'd be more than happy to help you guys out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we look forward to if you're listening to your first class, and let us know how that experience was. Like we're online. Like for Chi, can you share your details, your socials?
Okay. For me, I'm on IG. You can follow me at underscore positivity.
Yeah, yes. So go follow her, send her a message if you have any questions. She teaches for Body Love Yoga Studio as well. So she teaches every Tuesday and Wednesday evening. So yeah, you can check the schedule on Body Love Yoga Studio's Instagram and Facebook, and you can also message me, Ilongga Yogi, on social media too, so that if you have any questions, anything that you want me to talk about in the upcoming episodes, and we can do that. And if you want her to come back, as I think she can definitely come back and talk more about like yoga, teacher training, the whole everything about fitness, CrossFit,
Fitness,
everything. Yeah.
Anything under the sun, just let me know.
Yeah. Thanks, Chi. Thank you,
Thank
super
you.
duper. Yeah. Thank you
You
for your
also.
time.
Thank you
Yeah.
also, Kate, for having me. I was able to help out.
So that's our episode. Again, I hope that you learned something from this episode and that it really encourages you and other people in your life to try a class soon. And also just remember that, like we kept repeating in this episode, there are many styles of yoga. There are many teachers who teach very differently from one another. But like if you find that yoga is not for you, that's cool with us. There are some things that your body will enjoy and some things that your body will really, really not enjoy. But for us, it's all about giving it a few tries, because sometimes if you take yin yoga and you ended up like really struggling throughout the class, maybe you'd prefer a hatha yoga class or iyengar or kundalini. There are so many types of classes that you can definitely try, and it's really nice to immerse yourself in the world of yoga, because it really benefits your mental health. It can benefit you physically as well, and it also just helps you feel a little bit better, whether you're looking for something with a spiritual connection or you don't want that spiritual connection. That's fine too. But there's always something that you can benefit from when it comes to a yoga class. There are so many different benefits from it. It's all about finding like what you need at that moment. So thanks again for listening to this entire episode. Follow us online at Ilongga Yogi. Follow my yoga studio as well at Body Love Yoga Studio. And you can follow Teacher Chi at _positivity. Till the next one.